This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom and Baharium, peace to the elect. That's the men, women, and children whose names are written in the book of life, who's ordained to be delivered in these last days. All right, shalom to you all. And it's already recorded and known that the Francis Scott Key Bridge is in the water. Okay, the Francis Scott Key Bridge is in the water. All right, now shalom and the water to the brothers that reached out to us here in Baltimore, checking on our well-being and making sure brothers was okay. Again, the water to you and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Barakathum to you all, for all the brothers that checked in and to see if, we was okay. And I got the news this morning. Actually, the brother Lakama, he's the first one to hit me up and ask me, was I okay? And I was wondering why. And then immediately, this woman I know, I used to deal with, she called me and she said, are you okay? Checking in to see. I'm like, what's going on? Like, cause you the second person to ask me is back to back. And then she was like, yeah, I just sent it to you, the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Well, she said the Key Bridge is in the water. And I thought it was the Bay Bridge, because I'm still new to the area, but it wasn't the Bay Bridge, but it was the Key Bridge, which sits on basically the eastern side of the 695 Beltway here in the Baltimore City, Baltimore County area. If you know anything about Baltimore, it's encompassed around the Beltway, which is 695, and that area over there is a heavy commuter area. And immediately when I heard about the news, I thought to myself, well, that's going to cause a lot of traffic and slow up commerce. Okay, because if you know anything about that area with Dundalk, Rosedale, Middle River, they're very, very, very blue collar. It's industrial, high level of industrial commerce in that area. There's a lot of jokes about Dundalk and people that live over there, how they're part retarded because of the fumes in the air and things of that nature, because of how much industrial plants are in that area. Okay, and I found out today listening on the news that passageway brings in the second most amount of coal. Okay, and I forget it was either the country or the world, or I know that's a heavy import-export ports for traffic of fuel. Okay, gas going into the Eastern Shore, going into, different parts of Maryland and so on and so forth. So best believe this will affect the economy of the world. And in fact, that cargo ship was on the way to Sri Lanka. Okay. And, but that's not why I'm here to talk about this video. All right. In this video as a lesson, I'm mainly speaking on this because the scriptures tell you that we're not ignorant to Satan's devices. Okay, and when these things occur, the elites have a saying in which they said, never let a good crisis go to waste. And actually, that was actually stated on 6:80 a.m. this morning. Okay, they actually quoted that. Okay, never let a good crisis go to waste. Matter of fact, I want to Google that real quick. See? And this is accredited to Winston Churchill. Okay, and Winston Churchill was a elitist. You know, he was an insider, if you will. All right, Winston Churchill is accredited with saying never let a good crisis go to waste in the mid 1940s as the world approached the end of World War II. An alliance was being forged between Churchill, Stalin, and Roosevelt. You see? So, yeah, there you go, man. There you go. All right. Winston Churchill, you know, he was a politician in amongst the UK, you know, and he's the one that's accredited for making this quote. Okay. And we know that when these crises occur, they're for reasons, and they have symbols and hidden messages in it. And the other day I was watching the Elder Yashawama's video, and he went into a part where he played a segment in which there was this so-called white man talking about the earthquake back in 1811 and in 1812, which it hit me because if you look at the Maryland license plate, all right, it says, yep, Maryland, the War of 1812. The War of 1812 plates featured an illustration of Fort McHenry with broad stripes, bright stars, and bombs bursting in air. Okay, because Fort McHenry, okay, when you go into it, when you look up Francis Scott Key, who the bridge was named after, all right, he was a man, he was born January 11th, August 1st, 1779. He died January 11th, 1843. Was an American lawyer, author, and amateur poet from Frederick, Maryland, best known as the author of the text of the U.S. national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. Key observed the British bombardment of Fort McHenry in 1814 during the War of 1812. He was inspired upon seeing this American flag still flying over the fort at dawn and wrote the poem, Defense of Fort McHenry. It was published within a week that suggested tune to the popular song, the Necessaron in Heaven, okay, which that's the point, okay, because when you look over in that same Bay Area, the Fort McHenry Tunnel is over there, and that's where Fort McHenry sat, and that was a major component, a major part of the War of 1812. And when you go into the War of 1812, okay, it says, I got it here, it says the War of 1812, it started in June 18th, 1812 to February 1815. Conflict fought between the United States and Great Britain over the British violations of U.S. maritime rights. It ended with the exchange of ratifications of the Treaty of Ghent. Okay. It gives you, all right, and it tells you here, okay. And one thing I noticed, like I said, in the video that Elder Yashawama put out, the individual talked about the earthquake. Okay. When you go back, this is RDAvidbauer.com, where it says solar eclipse number 2. I'll jump to this part. United States will share in North America solar eclipse on April 8th, 2024, which will pass over Mexico, into the United States over Texas, and exit over a small portion of Canada. This solar eclipse will also originate over the Pacific Ocean and terminate over the Atlantic Ocean. Track of 2024 solar eclipse, courtesy of Google and NASA. The two eclipse tracks intersect the vicinity of the New Madrid seismic zone. The largest recorded major earthquake in that zone was in 1811 to 1812. When a series of earthquakes of varying magnitude followed a major quake of 7.5 to 7.9 on December 6, 1811. All right, so there was an enormous earthquake of 7.5 to 7.9 magnitude in December 16, 1811. Okay, and then shortly after that, you see within about 7 months later, all right, you have what? The War of 1812, which was a major conflict. Actually, when you go into the records of this they say this was America's first war. Okay, the first war that America went into. Okay, and America was winning it. When you go into the history, America was winning. Salakia, America was winning, right? And they were beating the British Army, because the British Army was already in conflict with the French. But once they defeated the French, that's when the British started to overthrow the Americans. And then Howard's, check this out. You have some major players too in this war. It says peace talks between Britain and the United States began in 1814. Britain stalled negotiation as it waited for a victory in America, having recently committed extra troops to its western campaign. But news of their losses at the places like Plattsburgh, New York, and Baltimore, Maryland, paired with the Duke of Wellington counsel against continuing the war, convinced the British to pursue peace more genuinely, and both sides signed the Treaty of Ghent in 1814. The final battle of the war occurred after this, when a British general, unaware of the peace treaty, led an assault on New Orleans that was roundly crushed. There was another part too, because the British, they burned down the White House. Okay? And we're coming into an election year. And like I said, there's major players that were in this War of 1812. Like, for instance, Andrew Jackson. Okay, which that same spirit of Andrew Jackson, all right, I'm not saying that's him, but him and Donald Trump have a lot of similarities. I'll just leave it at that, man. Okay? Yeah, it says, during the War of 1812, August 24th, 1814, British troops invaded Washington, D.C. in response to the American attack on York, Ontario, and Canada. The British troops occupied the Capitol and set fire to many federal buildings, including the White House. Okay? And again, we're in the year of an election in which these same two parties, the same two administrations, when they went head to head last time, when Trump lost, there was a storming at the Capitol building. In fact, when Biden lost the first time, right? I'm sorry. When Hillary lost the first time, there was they didn't storm D.C., but I remember there was a large outcry, I tell you that much, man, in Washington, D.C. You know, they didn't get violent and it didn't get crazy like that, but you know, we coming in some times where people are living on edge, okay? And you got these different, splinter cells and, economic hitmen and all different manners of people are set up to make things occur, to set the stage, for America's downfall, man. Okay, essentially that's what this is all about, man. It's about America's downfall. Just like how you had back then, you had a great earthquake. All right. In fact, too, there was there's always a solar eclipse, but there was major solar eclipse back during 1811, 1812, and then you had that major war jump off. Okay, on the shores of America. Okay, so I wouldn't put it past, coming up April 8th. Who knows? There could be a solar eclipse and then maybe another major earthquake. And then guess what? We may be in the midst of another war in America, man. But this time a civil war. People are coming up against Washington, D.C. again. That may be on the brink. Okay? Let me get this real quick. Brothers already know where I'm going. 2nd Ezra 15, right? In verse, my bad. Here we go. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, in verse 15. For the sword and destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Meaning people are going to be fed up with the circumstances, no matter how you slice it, Democrat, Republican, Trump, Biden, all right? It seems to be that whoever loses, that party is going to take action, okay? And you got all these different same signs that occurred back then that are occurring again, all right? Potentially going to occur again, all right? In Salaki, we got all these different signs that are occurring, that occurred back then, that are looking very similar again in modern time, okay? So we'll see, you know, that's why the scriptures say watch as well as pray, all right? We'll give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the elect.